When the lawyer finished reading my ex-husband's will, everyone in the room looked at me. Then they looked at the man sitting across the table, the man I'd once had an affair with, the man who had helped destroy my marriage. The lawyer adjusted his glasses. "I'm sorry," he said quietly, "but this is exactly how Mr. Carter wrote it." My ex-husband had left almost everything he owned to my former affair partner, and tucked inside the envelope was a handwritten letter addressed only to him, not to me, not to his family, to the man I'd betrayed him with. I thought it had to be some kind of mistake. It wasn't. My name is Allison. My ex-husband's name was James. The man I had an affair with was Noah. James and I had been married for 14 years. He taught high school history, the kind of teacher students visited years after graduating just to say thank you. He remembered birthdays, never forgot anniversaries, always brought flowers home for no reason at all. And if someone had asked me whether James was a good husband, I would have said yes, without hesitation. That made what I did even harder to explain. Noah worked for the city parks department. We met while volunteering at a community fundraiser. He was funny, relaxed, spontaneous in all the ways James wasn't. The affair lasted 9 months. When James discovered it, he never yelled. He simply sat across from me at our kitchen table and asked, "Are you leaving?" I couldn't answer. He nodded slowly. "I think that's my answer." The divorce was finalized 6 months later. Noah and I tried to build a relationship. It lasted barely a year. Without secrecy, we realized we had very little in common. After we broke up, I never saw him again. James never remarried. We spoke occasionally, mostly about paperwork, taxes, selling the house, nothing personal. Years passed. Then one winter morning, my phone rang. James had suffered a massive heart attack. He didn't survive. The funeral was beautiful. Former students filled the church, neighbors, coworkers, people whose lives he'd quietly improved over decades. I cried harder than I expected, not because I thought we'd get back together, because I realized too late what I'd thrown away. A week later, the attorney called. "There will be a reading of the will." I assumed it was routine. James had no children. His parents had already passed away. A few cousins, some charities. That was probably it. When I walked into the attorney's office, I nearly froze. Noah was already there. He looked just as confused. "I got a letter," he whispered. So did I. Neither of us understood why. The attorney opened the folder. "Mr. James Carter left specific instructions that both of you be present." He began reading. Most of the estate went exactly where I expected. Money to a scholarship fund. His truck to his nephew. His books to the school library. Then the attorney paused. "There is one final personal bequest." He looked directly at Noah. "To Noah Bennett, I leave my home." The room became completely silent. My workshop. My fishing boat. My woodworking tools. And everything inside the garage. Noah immediately shook his head. "No. There has to be a mistake." "There isn't." The attorney replied, "I've never even—" His voice cracked. "I don't deserve this." The attorney slowly slid a sealed envelope across the table. "You were also instructed to receive this letter." Noah stared at it. His hands wouldn't move. "I can't." The attorney nodded. "You don't have to." After several long moments, Noah finally opened it. The handwriting was unmistakably James's. He began reading silently. Then, his shoulders started shaking. He handed me the letter. "I think," he whispered, "you should read it." I unfolded the paper. James had written, "Noah, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone. First, I need you to know this isn't forgiveness because you earned it. It's forgiveness because I refuse to spend the rest of my life carrying hatred. The house isn't a reward. Neither is the boat. Neither are the tools. They're simply things. What mattered to me was never the wood in the workshop or the roof over my head. It was always the people inside it. You already took the one thing that couldn't be replaced. Everything else, I learned I could live without. By the time I reached that sentence, I could barely see through my tears. The letter continued. I watched you try to build a life after the divorce. I heard you and Allison didn't last. I'm sorry for both of you. Not because I wanted either of you back. Because I hoped hurting me would have at least been worth something. Another long pause. I'm leaving these things to you because every time you use them, I hope you remember what they cost. Take care of the workshop. Fix the porch. Oil the boat. Live an honest life inside the house where I once believed honesty lived. If you can do that, then maybe something good can grow from the worst thing that ever happened to me. James. Neither of us spoke. The attorney quietly excused himself, leaving us alone. Noah folded the letter carefully. I can't accept this. I nodded. You probably shouldn't. He looked around the empty office. I would have given anything to trade every one of these things for one chance to undo what we did. For the first time in years, I believed him. A month later, Noah declined the inheritance. Everything was sold instead. Every dollar went into the scholarship fund James had started for students who wanted to become teachers. Noah asked for only one thing: the letter. The attorney agreed. Years later, I saw Noah one final time. He was volunteering at the same community center where we'd first met. Older, quieter, different. I asked him if he still had the letter. He smiled sadly. I read it every year. Why? He looked toward a group of teenagers painting a classroom. Because I never want to forget the price of becoming the man I used to be. Sometimes people ask whether James ever got revenge. I tell them no. He did something much harder. He trusted the man who had helped destroy his marriage to decide what kind of man he wanted to become afterward. And in the end, that single handwritten letter became worth far more than the house, the boat, or everything else my ex-husband left behind. Because James understood something I didn't until it was far too late. The greatest inheritance a person can leave isn't money. It's the chance for someone else to become better than they once were.